गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड इवनिंग, गुड आफ्टरनून। आप सबका फिर से स्वागत है लीडरशिप इनसाइट्स विद मी प्रशांत। आप सबको मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे ऑन दिस अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ माय शो लीडरशिप इनसाइट्स। हर हफ्ते की तरह आज भी हम एक इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक लेके आए हैं और एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग और सीनियर गेस्ट को लेके आए हैं जो लीडरशिप को समझता है अपनी जिंदगी की एक्सपीरियंस से, अपनी प्रोफेशनल एक्सपीरियंसेस। So today's topic that we're going to talk about is extra special because we're going to talk about women and leadership. We're going to talk about women in leadership, and that's going to be the highlight of our conversation today. Because I do believe and I have noticed that this topic needs that attention that it deserves. Women need that attention that they deserve. They need that applause, that appreciation that they deserve because they're doing such a wonderful job in leadership, and we need to speak about it. We need to acknowledge, we need to appreciate what they're doing. And parallelly, we also need to understand what are the challenges that women are facing while becoming leaders, while being leaders, and how can we deal with those challenges? What can women do on their own to actually fight these challenges and those barriers? And how can we build a support system around them to help them grow as leaders? So today's conversation is going to be about women and leadership. So to have a conversation, I wanted to talk to someone who has had a journey in life of becoming a very successful leader, who has literally come from the roots of not knowing anything and grown as a person over the years in her competence, in her confidence to become somebody that we all look up to today. So I got a person, and I was very happy and very glad that it was one of my very close and dear friends who has been on this show before. And she was, in fact, the first guest on the first season of Leadership Insights. तो कहीं ना कहीं एक इमोशनल अटैचमेंट है, ऐसा लग रहा है I'm just reliving the past and getting her back on the show. But see, she has been an amazing support system for me in my growth journey as well for the last 4 years. So who I'm talking about is Gauri Das. Gauri is an engineer turned HR professional with keen interest in human psychology. With her early education in vernacular medium in a small village and introverted disposition, communication and confidence were not her forte. But if you look at her today, she's a well-respected HR professional, TEDx speaker, author, and has won multiple awards, including the Economic Times Young HR Professional Award, HR 100 Under 40, Top 200 Global Voices in Leadership, Top 10 Global Women in HR, Most Followed HR Professional on Social Media, LinkedIn Person of the Year, Top 10 Must Have Connections on LinkedIn, to just name a few. ये पढ़ते और बोलते हुए ही मैं थक गया, and these are just a few, and there are many more to her credits. She is a strategic HR leader with 16 plus years of experience in crafting and aligning HR strategy with business goals, and currently serves as a senior vice president HR at India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited. And as I said earlier, her being on this show today is emotional for me because she was the first guest who decided and agreed to support my dream, my vision of starting this show. And she has been a support system since then. So I'm very thankful to her for that. So without any further delay, let's get our special guest with us, Miss Gauri Das. Hi Gauri, good morning.
Hi Prashant, thank you so much for having me here once again. This is third season rather, right? And
Yes.
it reminds me when I came here for the first season and the kind of conversation that we had. It was wonderful, and I'm looking forward to similar conversation, which also helps our audience. Uh, I think your voice is breaking. I could not hear well, and also there is a comment in the chat box.
Is it?
Yeah, there was
All
echo.
right. How about now? Is anything different now?
Yes, it's
To
better.
audience who is with us, who can hear us, if you could please put in the comments if the voice is fine now. Kuldeep, thank you for mentioning that the voice is breaking. If you could please tell us if it is all right now. There is disturbance in the audio. Okay. तो अब क्या करें?
यही तो टेक्नोलॉजी
माइक माइक बहुत महंगा है, कैमरा महंगा है, सब कुछ बहुत महंगा है. I don't know what to do. Okay,
no,
just
Kuldeep says
improve.
it's improved, and I can also hear you well now. Yeah.
ठीक है, ऑल राइट. तो मैं माइक के थोड़ा ज्यादा नजदीक रहता हूँ. इट्स बेटर नाउ. थैंक यू कुलदीप, थैंक यू मोनालिसा. आई एम ग्लैड वी हैव दैट सपोर्ट सिस्टम. तो अब आगे बढ़ते हुए इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को शुरू करते हुए, बट एज यू वर सेइंग, यस, थैंक यू. यू नो द जर्नी ऑफ द लास्ट 3 years हैज बीन अमेजिंग. You know, the guests that have come on the show, the conversations that have come on the show, the traction that the show picked up because you were the first guest, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है ना कि स्टार्ट में आपको किसी स्टार को रखना होता है ताकि आप ऑडियंस पिकअप कर सको. आई थिंक दैट हेल्प मी अ लॉट बिकॉज यू वर देयर. तो लोगों को लगा कि यार कुछ तो होगा इस शो में कि she agreed to be there, and that showed up in people saying yes to my show. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. So we have to understand it from a psychological point of view as well, that how you added value to the show and how people kept coming. And I had no challenge in getting people on the show since then. लोग आराम से आते हैं कि ठीक है भाई, ठीक ठाक शो है, ठीक कॉन्वर्सेशंस होती है, वैल्यू ऐड है. So thank you for that support, Gauri.
Prashant, that's your credibility. You're being so humble.
वो तो आप बन रही है पिछले 2-3 साल से, but thank you for saying yes when there wasn't any. So thank you for helping me build that.
Yeah, we are here for each other. That's what networking is.
धन्यवाद. So getting into the conversation of our show, Gauri, for today, our topic today is very special because we're talking about women and we're talking about leadership and the relevance between the both. So you being both, being a leader and being a woman, and the journey that we know that you have taken, that I understand has been right from the roots to where you are today, where everybody looks up to you, but nobody gets to see कि उसके पीछे हुआ क्या, उसके पीछे की कहानी थी क्या. गौरी आज ऐसी है, गौरी आज वैसी है, गौरी ये कर रही है, गौरी वो कर रही है, is what people get to see. लेकिन लोगों को नहीं पता है कि इसके पीछे जो जद्दोजहद हुई है, the story that is behind this, the struggles that you've gone through, is what I would like to start this conversation with. So my first question to you, Gauri, is that if you could please describe in your own words, in whatever ways you could, your journey of becoming who you are today as a leader.
Yeah, thank you for asking this because you rightly said, and I have read your book, so I know what kind of struggles you have been through. I think all of us have a story, all of us have our shares of struggle, and it's really inspiring to hear from each other and understand that I'm not the only one जिसको ये challenges are. Everybody faces them. But before that, I would like to thank all our audience who have joined in today, and they are also saying crystal clear voice. Thanks Shivani, and thanks Pragati, and thanks everyone for joining here. It's really encouraging to see people listening to us, right? So yeah, Prashant, you rightly said the journey started from a small place, and I am currently in Maharashtra, Mumbai. But this is my seventh state. So I was born in UP, then went to Bihar, then MP, West Bengal, Assam, and Ahmedabad, which is Gujarat, and finally here. So if you look at these places are not like large cities or even towns. So my journey started from a small village, lush green place, and anything that you want in life was there, other than the exposure that you get in the school, or I had to study in vernacular medium. My parents are like my father had two kids when he was still not working. He was still studying when he had two kids, and I was third one. My mother is not very educated, but I am very proud of the values that I have inculcated from them. So when I say possibilitarian, that has come from my father because like I said, two kids yet studying, and he also created it for himself. He was in UP, the only boy, male child, and especially Eastern UP. But he came out of that and he came to Madhya Pradesh where he started working. And he fought for me and my sister to get education because ईस्टर्न यूपी में लड़कियां पढ़ाई नहीं करती थी उन दिनों में. And I am an engineer, and likewise my sister is also highly educated. So he did it for us. My mother, like I said, she's not very educated, just 8 pass, and I have no qualms about sharing it. But the kind of respect that created for herself, the kind of values that she inculcated in us in terms of discipline, in terms of looking at things from positive angle, whether you have resources or not, actually shaped me. So father and mother, I would say, were the first lessons, or anything that I learned from them has helped me even today. So when you say what shaped me today is this. So I was studying there in this village, and I was anyways very introverted and shy child. So, and I would not say introverted now, because now I know it was not introversion, but it was lack of confidence. So anybody stepping in the house, I would hide behind my mom, and I would not leave her until they leave house. So that was my state of affairs. The school that I studied, just one school in the village and one classroom. So आप किसी भी class में पढ़ रहे हो, आप एक ही class में बैठोगे. No personality development opportunity. So I was in my shell, I would say. So when I went to engineering college, it was a large city. It's Indore. not as large as Mumbai or Bangalore where we are calling from, but still a big city, I would say. And this institute was second ranking institute in the state, so they had people from across the globe, and English was the norm there, and I was very very poor because for me English started in sixth standard. So मुझे कुछ आता ही नहीं था इंग्लिश में बात करना, तो सवाल ही नहीं है. So when teacher would
Hmm.
ask for roll call, I would just raise my hand. इतना courage ही नहीं था कि मैं yes madam बोलूं, because even yes madam was like a judge. So from there, then I was not able to move forward in terms of business communication paper, but the formula came from my father, and he said यहाँ तक पहुंची हो, तुम्हें आगे बढ़ना है, मुझे देखो मैंने कैसे किया. So the formula was try again and you will succeed, and it actually works. So it worked for me, and I completed my engineering, and then I did my MBA very recently, even masters in psychology. But my journey, it did not start from a very big role or something. I started with leave and attendance management. Since I was an engineer, I used to teach people Excel or other subjects. I have also taught in college in my earlier career, and small places also like Assam, Guwahati. What good opportunities you will get there. But again, the thought process that you can move forward no matter what challenges you have or what limitations you have, just create possibilities was the mantra. So I got a job even in Guwahati, then we went to Ahmedabad, same case. By the time I came to Mumbai, I have had two breaks, because one was like 7 months break, and another one was for my daughter. I took a 2 years break. A nuclear family in Mumbai, and I had no idea about such a large city, never been to such a place. लोकल ट्रेन में कैसे चढ़ना है, आई लर्न ओनली आफ्टर ब्रेकिंग 3-4 चप्पल्स फॉल्स, एंड so many times my kurta got torn, and then I realized acha, this is the art to enter a local train. So with this kind of thing, I have had lived from 4 states between 4 years. So employers were not very forthcoming when I wanted to go back to work. 100 plus interviews, 13 plus rejections, and finally I got a job. But I would say I was very very lucky, because this assignment in Mumbai, that I would say the most critical assignment in my career, was setting up their office. This was an MNC, setting up their office and also HR department in Mumbai. So got a very good opportunity. And another thing that I have been blessed with is, very early in my career I got opportunity to work with either promoter or CEO or managing director. So when you work with them, one, you need to be ready, because they think from a different perspective, and second, you get a very big horizon. So you get to see their visioning, which helps you understand things better. So if I
Hmm.
have to say the leadership lessons, or the way I am a leader today, it would be my parents, and also the learnings that I got from my bosses, who were uh, from 14 years now. So I carry around 17 years of experience. From that 14 years, I have worked with either CEOs or managing directors. So very good visioning, understanding. But yes, you need to be on your toes all the time. So that has really helped me. I think a very long answer, but I hope.
I I definitely see value in what you're saying, and a very important value that I believe in or I hold is that leadership is not just about work, because a lot of times we speak about leadership something which attached to being a professional. But with your story of your life, it becomes so evident that leadership is something that needs to be inculcated in people right from their childhood. And parents are the first people who you look up to as leaders, knowingly or unknowingly. You feel so much pride in your parents, which I could sense from your conversation. Although if you look at it from a point of view of what have they done in terms of education, what have they done in career point of view, you would be like, okay, I don't see much there. But the way you look at it is because you've been there with them on the ground, the values that they instilled in you, how they wanted you to be different, how they wanted you to get better experiences than what they had, how you said your dad told you that, look at me, how I'm doing things, how I'm trying to make things. You can also do the same. Try is what you mentioned. Look at possibilities, create possibilities, go behind possibilities is the way to move forward. And that's something that's taught to us in an environment in the first 15 to 20 years of our life, जहाँ पे हम अभी professionals नहीं बने होते. So that's a
Correct.
very important lesson that you're sharing, Gauri, because a lot of people who are listening to us right now would also be parents, right? Or would be parents at some point of time. It's important to understand how critical it is of how you relate to your child, how you build them up, irrespective of your weaknesses, your shortcomings in your life that you could not achieve. You should not put that as a reflection on them. You should help them build their own value system, help them become much better than who they are, and also try to show them the positives of their life so that they're able to look at life in that manner. That's what I could get from what you said in the first part of your conversation. Then, secondly, when you mentioned about the professional experiences that you had, Gauri, again, a very similar pattern comes that like our parents are our first leaders of our life, it's also very important who we have as first leaders in our professional life. So the kind of
Absolutely.
exposure they give you, the kind of treatment they give you, the kind of responsibilities they put on you, and what you see them doing, the way they are thinking becomes very important part of your life as a professional, as a leader. So you got to work with such people who thought big, who had big visions, who kept you on your toes, who probably challenged you every moment of your day over the last 17 years. But that is the reason for you being who you are today. अगर वो challenges नहीं होते, अगर आपने एक
Hmm.
आराम से किसी छोटी जगह शुरू किया होता, where you were not exposed to big visions, you were just exposed to कि ये किसी तरह ही आज शाम तक ये टास्क कंप्लीट कर देना और
Yeah,
ऐसे ही आप
best.
प्रमोशन से जिंदगी निकल जाएगी. But you are exposed to bigger things. So I think that's also very important for us to understand. Not just as parents, even as leaders, there are people who are reporting to you, and for them, you might be their first leader, their first experience and exposure to leadership. So how are you behaving? How are you leading in a manner that they learn leadership from you? क्योंकि आगे जाके वो भी वैसे ही लीडर बनेंगे. तो आप एक
Hmm.
रिपल इफेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, तो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. तो थैंक यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग दीज टू एलिमेंट्स आउट, गौरी. Now, one thing that I want to understand in this thing, it's easier said than done. कि इतने साल हो गए, इतनी cities घूम ली, ये कर लिया, वो कर लिया. I'm sure, it takes a lot of inner leadership, real power within you, which would have led you or allowed you to do what you did. उस पे आप थोड़ी सी लाइट डाल सकते हैं that, what were you going through जब वो चप्पलें कट रही थी, जब वो दुपट्टा फट रहा था, what got you going back saying that कि नहीं करना है तो करना है, वो कैसे किया?
Yeah, you rightly said it's very difficult because, and then you don't have a support system also, like I said, a nuclear family here. So, and nobody had ever kept their kids in a babysitting or a crush before me in the family. So that was added responsibility or added challenge, I would say, because
Hmm.
every day when I would go for work, whole day there will be a thought process that I have to come back by this time, otherwise the babysitter may not be available, and my
Hmm.
daughter would be grumpy if I am late. And at the same time, like you rightly mentioned, that karna hai to karna hai was also in my mind. So I was always try to give 150%. It's not that I had to stop at 100%. One, definitely I was working with CEOs or promoters. They always push you, and that was really good. But at the same time, I had my inner thought process also that whatever I have lost in last so many years, I need to gain it.
Yes.
Yes, a complete struggle. I think the support from family was very helpful. But again, I would go back and I would say that it was that those dreams that my parents gave me, that कुछ तो करना है लाइफ में, वो ही मुझे प्रोपेल करते रहे आगे बढ़ने के लिए. बिकॉज they always said you have to do it, no matter what, you have to create it for yourself. So that one thing, that fire in the belly, came from them for sure.
Wonderful. Something to be very grateful for, right? As much as we learn from it, but we also learn gratitude for these simple things that a lot of times we take for granted. We don't give them that gratitude कि यार ठीक है, माँ बाप अपना काम ही तो कर रहे हैं, दे पैदा किया है तो पालो बढ़ाओ करो. But we don't understand that how grateful we need to be, the sacrifices they make. कि
Yeah.
उनकी जिंदगी में एक जद्दोजहद चल रही है, लेकिन वो आपको एक अच्छी पिक्चर दिखा रहे हैं दुनिया की. वो आपके सपनों में आपको पीछे नहीं छोड़ना चाहते हैं. They don't let their reality impact your reality, right? That distinction that they're trying to create requires a lot of courage and sacrifice from them, and we definitely should be grateful to our parents, and I'm glad that you are. And that's where most of the things come from. कहीं ना कहीं वो एक एंकर बन जाता है हमारी जिंदगी में हमको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए. Great. We have some interesting comments that are coming our way. Let's take a quick look at them. So we have Mona Lisa who is saying, had tears in my eyes while listening to your journey, Gauri. I belong to such a remote village in West Bengal. Well, electricity just came 5 years back. Your story gives me inspiration and courage. Uh,
Awesome.
Manja says hello. Ever inspiring. Gauri is the comment for you. Asha says basic outlook and attitude drivers are forged in early childhood. Very,
Absolutely.
very true. Uh, Great discussion. Asking simple, small to Gauri Das in your life travel as a leadership, you attain great success with challenges, these experiences. So he's giving you blessings to do well from what you shared. He wants you to continue doing well in life.
Thank you so
Archana says the fire in the belly. Uh, there's a question that Asha is asking. Did you have any role models, Gauri?
Yes, I definitely had. My mom was my role model. My father was my role model. So I was not at a place where I would read about many people. Never.
Mm,
Reader Digest is what everybody talks about when I
mm,
connect with people, and they say that was our first window to outside world. I did not have those opportunities. I did not see people, especially women, doing well because not because they were not doing well, because I did not have a window to outside world. So in early childhood, or even I would say until college, I did not have that. Those days Google was also not there, and even the alumni connect was not so strong. So early
mm,
childhood, these people were my role models. But yes, later on, I read about many women, Michelle Obama. There are so many that now no, but
yeah,
yes, that one name rings some bells in my
yeah,
mind when I think about what she has done and how she has done it.
wonderful. Thank you, Gauri, for sharing that. Taking the conversation forward, since this show is about leadership and we are looking to focus on the more professional element of leadership, so it would be interesting to understand in your last journey of last 14 to 17 years as a professional, growing into being who you are today as a leader. What challenges have you faced? And parallelly, there might be few that you haven't, but you have seen other women leaders face at workplaces. And what would you suggest should be done to overcome them?
Yeah, so lot of challenges. Yes, it's not only for women. I would say it's for any professional when you want to move forward. Certain, I would say, mistakes also that I saw them as a challenge, but today I would like to say that don't do that. So I mentioned that I was working at 150%, but
Mm,
that did not allow me to take some me time or take care of my health, and
mm,
that definitely impacted me negatively in a large way. The thought process itself, that it's good to have that fire in the belly, and it's also good to do more than what is required, but you
mm,
have to have a balance. कहीं ना कहीं पे balance लाना पड़ता है. So for me, the thought process was that everything at home had to be done by me, because that's how I had seen my mom doing or other women doing. And at the same time, at work also, it should be 150%. So I should have had brought in that balance. And I think this one challenge many women face, because this traditional role that has been taught to us, it always creates a barrier for us. So now my mom, jokingly we were talking, and she mentioned that my father said a few years down the line there will be no kitchens in home, and my mom said kitchen is the place which is the biggest barriers for women. So they have now started realizing, even this generation has started realizing, that for women this becomes a problem, the household responsibilities. So I would say,
mm,
how to overcome this is, you don't have to bring down your fire in the belly, you also don't have to bring down your responsibilities towards home, but you need to involve your family members, which I did not do. So after
mm,
many years, when there was an outburst, and I told my husband, you never support me and I have to do everything at work and at home, he said, when did you ask for it? Because he has never seen his mom not doing things or father doing anything. But after that conversation, things became very easy for me, because he started understanding, and we divided responsibilities. So bring
mm,
in support system, bring in. I was not able to trust anyone with my daughter for a very long time. Even that should not be the case. There are professionals who take care of your kid, your other responsibilities, and now there are so many other services also which were not there 13, 14 years ago when my daughter was born. So rely on every support system that you have. Be careful about whom you are trusting, but family you must involve, because it cannot happen that you do double the work. So but that is
Hmm.
one thing. Second thing, at work also, lot many times, like I said, I did not have confidence, and it did not vanish about after engineering or after MBA. Even as HR professional, I did not have courage, because I had a thought process that I have come from a village. My English is not so good. How do I even speak or share my thoughts? Would they ever add value? So even this thing, that whatever is your background, forget about that. Learn a lot and move forward. Share your thoughts, share your perspectives. Sometimes they may be very, very important. Sometimes it may not be accepted by the team, but that should not deter you from sharing your thoughts. So second thought process is a second challenge that I have seen many women and me also, that they think their thoughts would not add value. But don't think like that. Be ready with whatever you have and go for it. Third is the challenge that I am seeing. Many women feel overwhelmed with the responsibility, or they think that the world is only this much. They are not able to go for networking, and when you don't have diverse experiences, or you don't have that open mindedness, you do not understand that sky is the limit. So this is one challenge with women, and I would say it's a mindset challenge. Things are improving. There are many more women who are coming forward, and who are taking the leap. But I have had my struggles with pushing people to promote women for various projects, various roles, only to get a response after 3 months that I am not able to move forward with this. So families have to come forward and support women, but women also need to be equally strong, because जब तक मांगोगे नहीं नहीं मिलता है, because लोगों ने देखा नहीं. Like my husband, it was not that he was not ready to help, but he said I have
Hmm.
never seen it. And I think this has been depicted in one of the advertisement also, that they have no idea until you ask for it, the understanding would not develop. So
Hmm.
women also need to be very, very careful about it, because sometimes it does happen that I push my case that this woman would do well, and it does not happen, and it creates then ripple effect for other women also. So be
Other-
very careful, because we are on path of that growth journey, and if we don't help each other, or we don't respect the efforts done by someone for you, it's going to spoil everything. So I think, yeah, these three challenges I would say. But in one word, if I have to say, it is mindset.
Hmm. Hmm. So, Gauri, from what you said, it brings back these thoughts in my mind of how much of an impact personal life has on professional life. Okay,
Yes.
the first thing that you said was the experience that you had with your husband, where he said कि आपने कभी बोला ही नहीं, कभी पूछा ही नहीं, कभी डिस्कस ही नहीं किया, तो how would I know? And what you said
Yeah.
after that was even more powerful, to understand why did that happen, because he
Yes.
did not see that happening in his family. He did not see that collaboration. He did saw a clear
Yes.
distinction कि माँ ये करती है, डैडी ये करते हैं. That's a distinction. So he just followed that because those are the leaders he was led by. So he did not see anything wrong in that because he didn't see any other way. But when you ask this question is when he got probably exposed to a fact that कि अच्छा एक possibility और भी है, जो क्रिएट हो सकती है, लेकिन उसके बारे में कोई बात तो करे, कोई पूछे
Yeah.
तो सही, कोई डिस्कस तो करे. सो आई थिंक दिस हैपेंस अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स, जहाँ पे हम लोग एक assumption बना लेते हैं दैट माय पेरेंट्स आर नॉट सपोर्टिव, ब्रदर इज नॉट सपोर्टिव, सिस्टर इज नॉट सपोर्टिव, वाइफ इज नॉट सपोर्टिव, दोस्त सपोर्टिव नहीं है, मेरा नेटवर्क सपोर्टिव नहीं है. बहुत बार लोगों को ये भी लगता है. लेकिन सपोर्टिव मतलब क्या है कि आप बैठे रहो और वहीं से फोन आते रहे, मैसेज आते रहे, लोग पूछते रहे कुछ चाहिए तो नहीं, कुछ करें तो नहीं तुम्हारे लिए, कुछ मदद तो नहीं चाहिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है. वो बार-बार नहीं हो सकता है ना, शायद इक्का-दुक्का बार हो जाए. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड दैट कनेक्ट्स मी टू द सेकंड पॉइंट दैट यू मेंशन्ड, व्हिच इज अबाउट स्पीकिंग अप. So I think as women, women are not encouraged a lot to speak up. Now things are changing and have changed a lot. But in the last generation, things were not like that. घर में अगर कोई भी decision लेना होता था, women were just the doers and the executioners, and finally just acceptors of that. They were not involved in the strategic decision making कि आगे क्या करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे. जब तक कि वो किचन से रिलेटेड ना हो, तब तक वो इन्वॉल्व नहीं थे कॉन्वर्जेशन में, राइट? बट थिंग्स changed drastically now, and I'm glad they are. And women
Yes.
need to realize that there is opportunity to speak up. You have to speak up. Everybody wants you to speak up, but you need to show up and speak up. तब तक कुछ नहीं होने वाला.
हाँ
और तीसरी चीज आपने नेटवर्किंग की बात की, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, गेट टू नो पीपल, अंडरस्टैंड पीपल, टॉक टू देम, टेल देम व्हाट यू वांट, व्हाट यू आर केपेबल ऑफ। क्योंकि जैसा आपने एग्जांपल कहा कि जस्ट बिकॉज समबडी इज अ वुमन, you try to push them and get them to a role, but if they don't have the competence or the commitment required to deliver what is required there,
हम्म,
फिर क्या जाता है कि यार मैंने पहले ही बोला था ना, हमने तो पहले ही बोला था कि
हाँ
ये औरत से नहीं होगा। फिर उस चक्कर में अगले 3-4 साल तक एवरी अदर वुमन स्ट्रगल्स बिकॉज ऑफ द एग्जांपल दैट वन पर्सन क्रिएटेड, राइट? So it's very important to work on your competence, your commitment level, so that you can demand what you deserve rather than being like, अबला नारी वाला रोल नहीं है कि प्लीज मुझे दे
हाँ
दो, मैं एक नारी हूँ, मुझे आगे बढ़ाओ। That's not the case. The scene is what you have to earn it. You have the competence, you have the commitment, go ahead and ask for it. If you don't get what you deserve, then that's not the right place for you. Look for a place that respects your competence, your commitment, and show up there and give your best there. So
absolutely.
thank you for bringing this
Yeah,
up.
so
And
just
again,
to
as you
add
said,
to this, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to say that we are talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity. And when it comes to equity, we try to push kare women ko wherever possible, support them with mentoring, coaching, like you said, competence बढ़ाना है, commitment बढ़ाना है. But women also need to show it up and own it up actually. तो वो जब नहीं होता है, then there is a problem because आप पुश करोगे बट कॉम्पिटेंस तो है. इट्स नॉट दैट बिना मेरिट के कोई पुश होने वाला है. मेरिट तो
बिल्कुल,
लगेगा. इट्स नॉट रिजर्वेशन, राइट? इट्स जस्ट दैट आपको इक्विटी के लिए सपोर्ट. जैसे वो एग्जांपल है कि some three people are trying to watch a game happening and the wall is 6 feet. So somebody who's already 6 feet, you don't have to support them. But somebody who's 5, you have to give them a 1 foot support. And somebody who's 4, you have to give 2 feet support. So if you do not still try and it's merit. Bina merit ke no organization would be able to survive also no matter what you do. But if there is someone who is supporting you with equity, and it's not that only women are supporting, men are supporting also a lot, because equity
yeah,
is something which many organizations are working on. तो अगर
yeah,
आप अपना push नहीं लगाओगे तो फिर कुछ भी नहीं होगा. And never think that it's going to be without merit.
yeah, absolutely. And it should not be. That's not the right thing. It has to be
Yeah,
fair to everyone across.
correct. मतलब
So,
हम men को we don't want them to be at the situation where women were earlier. Right?
correct. नहीं तो फिर वो लगने लगता है ना that I have seen those conversations happen where they are like क्या वो women card play किया जाएगा, even though
हाँ,
there is no competence, even though they don't deserve it, अब वो card सामने ला दिया जाएगा. That is not how it should be. It should be like, boss,
correct.
she has earned it. It's not
Yes.
about he or she or whatever. It is about, okay, they have what is required for that role. Let's go for it. So
Yes,
that's how the
absolutely. तो
conversation
merit
needs to.
based ही होना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल। और आपने एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ पहले कही जहाँ पे आपने कहा when you are going through the challenges that you are going through, there is an expectation for a woman to take care of home, to take care of everything, to take care of children, to take care of the kitchen. And that is how it has been for many many years ना, हजारों सालों से चलता आ रहा है ये. ऐसा नहीं है कि जो 10 साल पहले बना है या 15 साल पहले बना है. It's been thousands of years. So it will take time for our minds to evolve to go beyond that as well. And how will that happen? When you don't just fight it, when you have a justified conversation about it, when you
Absolutely.
talk about it with your people, with your support system that you create in family, in friends, at work, and have a conversation about why you think this should happen, and how can we build a support system where the responsibilities get divided. कि ठीक है, आज तक औरत ये 50 चीजें करती थी, अब इन 50 में से कौन सी 10 हैं जो मैं अपने पास ही रखूंगी, बिकॉज आई अंडरस्टैंड I'm probably naturally, biologically evolved in a manner to handle these 10 very well. So I will not delegate or pass on those 10. But बाकी 40 में से आप ये 10 में हेल्प कर लीजिए, आप ये 5 में कर लीजिए, आप ये 8 में कर लीजिए, तो ये 50 डिवाइड हो जाए. Okay? That is where I'll be able to give my best to my growth as a person, as a professional. So I
Yeah,
think that conversation is very important to happen in family and at workplace as well.
absolutely. Because बिना बात के बात नहीं बनेगी.
Sorry, Gauri, I lost you for a minute. I don't know. Are you still there?
Yeah, yeah. You can hear me now? No?
Let's give it few seconds. I think there is a lag.
Okay. So I was saying बिना बात के बात नहीं बनेगी.
टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी आगे बढ़ गई, क्या क्या हो गया, लेकिन हम लोग ये छोटी छोटी चीजों पे अटक गए. होता है, मैंने किसी से सुना था कि यार जिंदगी आसान होती जा रही है, लेकिन बाथरूम यूज करना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता जा रहा है, पानी नहीं निकल रहा नल के से. So I think that's what we are experiencing here as well. There is a challenge. Gauri's video is stuck for me. I don't know if it is stuck for everyone. So let's just hold on for a few seconds till I can see everything coming back to normal. So I think till Gauri comes back, I think it's very interesting conversation that we are having with Gauri at this point of time. Yes, Gauri, you're back. I was just
Yeah,
thinking of summarizing the conversation we had, but for some reason, I don't know if you got my joke or not, but I cracked the joke. I at least tried. कि लोग कह रहे हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी इंप्रूव होती जा रही है टू मेक आवर लाइफ्स इजियर, लेकिन जितनी टेक्नोलॉजी इंप्रूव हो रही है उतना बाथरूम यूज करना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता जा रहा है क्योंकि नलके से पानी नहीं निकल रहा है। कहीं पे हाथ लगाना है, कहीं पे नहीं लगाना है, कहीं पे सेंसर है, कहीं पे नहीं है, कहीं पीछे बटन है, कहीं नीचे बटन है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है करना क्या है। तो आई थिंक
yeah.
वही
वो
चीज हमारे साथ हो
simplicity
रही
of
है।
life खत्म हो गई है.
हाँ, तो एक माइक, एक कैमरा, एक नेटवर्क कनेक्शन से हम लोग इतना स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं सिर्फ 1 घंटे के लिए। बट
पर
अगेन
पूरी दुनिया आ गई है, ये भी तो है.
चलिए कॉन्वर्जेशन को आगे बढ़ाते हुए लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन दैट आई थिंक इज मोर पर्सनल for me. My curiosity and alignment towards this question is somewhere biased because I have been led with a lot of women leaders, and I have had a great experience of being led by women leaders
Yeah,
across
I have read
organizations.
that.
And even now, when I work with women in terms of commitment, in terms of competence, in terms of their understanding of emotional aspects of relationships, in terms of discipline, everything that I see there, somewhere I feel naturally comes better to them. There is also a possibility to a certain extent here we have to prove ourselves more than others because our battle is difficult than others, is why probably their commitment levels are higher. That could also be adding some element to it, but I have seen that and experienced that over time. So I very strongly believe from my experience here women are way better leaders in getting results and keeping people in a space where they feel psychologically safe and they want to do things for the organization and for the leader more than the organization. So on those lines, Gauri, you being a woman, you having worked with women, you having developed women, hired women, trained women, so many experience you would have had. So what do you think of this perspective that I have? Do you think there are some unique strengths that women bring, especially to leadership positions?
I really don't believe in this that there are special capabilities, even emotional intelligence. We now know that it's a myth when people say that women are more emotionally intelligent. It's the components. So the secret lies in components. So one of the components of emotional intelligence would be assertiveness, where men do better than women. And when it comes to empathy, women do better than men. So as we know, the brain or the neurons that are impacted, or the region that are impacted when women look at a challenge, a challenging situation, challenging, or I would say a situation where somebody is having a problem, and so their brain is stimulated for a longer time than men's brain, because they can quickly move to how do I find a solution, and women still continue to empathize for a longer period. So yes, I don't say that one of them is more emotionally intelligent or not, but when you will look at these capabilities, like women
Hmm.
are looking at the difficult situation for a longer period and they are feeling it more. It actually
Hmm.
helps in today's leadership, because we
Hmm.
say future or present of leadership, present leadership is feminine, because we need empathy, we need a lot of not aggression but understanding. And how do
Hmm.
we run teams today as a leader? It's no more my role to tell somebody this is what you have to do. Gone are those days, and everybody comes with a good understanding. So I recently worked with some interns who are kind of 18 years old. One in I have additional role of marketing also, so I had a marketing intern who is just 18, and the kind of work she did was unmatched. I mean, 18 years, if I look back at myself, I had no idea. And it's not that she's studying, she did this internship with us, and she is also managing Instagram pages of many organizations as a freelancer. So 18 years of age, she knows it all. वो वाला टाइम अब नहीं है कि मुझे सिखाना पड़ेगा मेल कैसे ड्राफ्ट करो, right? So
Hmm.
what do I give them? If I give them lot of aggression, now one more aspect which we need to look at, how upbringing is happening today. So
Hmm.
अगर मैं, my daughter is 14 years and not even once it would have happened कि किसी ने उसको hit किया हुआ या बहुत ज्यादा बोल भी दिया हुआ. When she was born, there were all luxuries were at home already, right? But while I got a mobile when I started working, or I went for a first flight when my company sponsored me. But for her, it's like पैदा होने के पहले ही, when I would have conceived, she must have utilized a lot of things already. So उनको ये नहीं है कि वो पैसे के लिए काम करे. They are doing it for their fulfillment, right? So
Hmm.
this generation, aggression is not going to work. So this is where I see the difference when it comes to men and women, uh,
Hmm.
because this is how genetically they have been molded. Aggression बहुत
Hmm.
जल्दी आ जाता है for men, but for women it's more of understanding others, because बचपन से लड़कियों को सिखाया जाता है ना कि आपको ध्यान रखना है, फैमिली आपको रन करनी है. There is a very famous story of in Indra Nui, that how her mother told her to go and get milk while she was to announce that she has been promoted. So ये जो हमें सिखाया गया उसकी वजह से हमें पता है कि हमें कॉम्प्रोमाइज करना है, हमें एडजस्ट करना है और हमें ही चीजों को आगे बढ़ाना है. So as a team also, this behavior is definitely characterized or exemplified. So if I have to say one thing, yes, it's femininity, which is empathy is the key word here, and because of that, women are more able to lead the way we should lead teams today. This is what I
Hmm.
would say. Yeah.
Great. So, a very good thing for women to understand, get aware of, and amplify in their own ways, and for men to adapt to understand that this is the way, not even the way forward. This has already been the way for a while now. Probably we haven't adapted enough to it, is why there are so many challenges that are happening in workplace in terms of how the culture is. Are we nurturing the talent in the right manner? Are we nurturing people in a manner where they stay loyal to the organization? क्योंकि जैसे आपने पहले कहा, in earlier days your relevance or your relativity in your mind to your job was that आई एम ग्लैड कि मुझे कुछ मिल गया, अब किसी तरह मेरा घर चल जाएगा और किसी तरह मेरे को पूरी ज़िंदगी इस नौकरी में निकालनी है. That was the mindset. But the mindset today is not that. Mindset today is that there are a lot of opportunities around. There is no shortage of opportunities around there. I want a place that values me as a person. I want a place that challenges and creates opportunities for me. I want
Correct.
a place where I feel I want to go every single day and add value to them as well. If I feel that kind of relationship is not maintained or nurtured, तो आई विल स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग और जाके naukri.com पर रिज्यूमे डाल दो, लिंक्डइन जॉब्स पे
Mhm.
जाके सर्च शुरू कर दो. बिकॉज दैट इज हाउ इट इज टुडे. टुडेज जनरेशन इज नॉट कि यार मुझे यहाँ जिंदगी बितानी है. दे लाइक जब तक मैं खुश
Correct.
हूँ, जब तक मजा आ रहा है, जब तक मैं ग्रो कर रहा हूँ, मैं यहाँ पे हूँ. जिस दिन मुझे लगा दे डोंट वैल्यू मी, उस दिन दे विल सी द अदर साइड ऑफ मी वेयर आई विल बी लाइक ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच, 2 महीने का नोटिस ये रहा, मैं चला. देयर आर मेनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज आउट देयर बिकॉज देयर इज सो मच हैपनिंग आउट देयर. So I think, and with time, it's only going to increase because lifestyle awareness has become much more in people today. They understand कि ठीक है जिंदगी में मैं 50 नौकरियां कर लूंगा, 50 साल में I'll switch job 50 times. I have the option to do that. So I don't have to depend on an organization कि यार मैं किसी तरह आपको खुश रखना है, मेरी नौकरी बची रहे. But they're also ready to give. They're not saying that we are taking this for granted.
Mhm.
Today's generation is like ready to give, we're ready to learn, we will come equipped with certain skills and mindset, but I need to see that you're valuing that, you're nurturing that. I think वही point ऑफ रखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. जैसे आपने अपने 18 years intern के बारे में शेयर किया, that how she has already come in so well equipped because
Yeah.
she probably did not even feel that she was equipping herself. This was the basic that was needed. She was just learning a life skill कि मुझे ये तो आना ही चाहिए ना यार. It's not about a job. I need to know this. Everybody knows this. Today's generation understands this. So I think it's become like GK for them. जो हमको competence लगता है, for them it's general knowledge which they need to know to just live life. So thank you for bringing this up, this awareness, Gauri. There is again some lag, I believe. Your video is stuck. There is challenge with the network. इस टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टी के लिए खेद है. मेरे दिमाग में वो पुराने टाइम आ रहे हैं जब डीडी पे ना सब कुछ वो ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट बॉल्स आने लग जाती थी, आवाज आने लग जाती थी कि भाई वेट करो कब नेटवर्क वापस आएगा. आई थिंक वी हैव कम बैक नाउ.
Yeah, I don't know
थैंक
what's
यू.
happening today. It started with your voice, and then
आई नो, आई नो. चलिए, आई एम ग्लैड वी आर बैक. लेट्स मेक द मोस्ट ऑफ दिस टाइम दैट नेटवर्क अलाउज अस टू स्पीक फ्रीली. Now coming to the final question that I have on my mind, Gauri, is we have spoken about what you have spoken about, and we have understood things about you, your journey, your perspectives about leadership, your perspectives about women and leadership, what challenges you went through. Now, what is important for me to understand and for the audience to know is we spoke about some challenges and barriers that would come in the way of everybody, chahe men ho ya women ho, right? But today, since we are specifically trying to speak about women, I would want to understand that although there is a lot of awareness that is created out there about these barriers that are there, what do
Hmm.
you think stops women from breaking these barriers? And what would you like to tell them?
Yeah, that's very important because barriers to hand, you rightly said, I fully agree with this. It's not only for one gender, it's for everyone. But what stops us from breaking those barriers, एक तो ये हो जाता है कि हमने सोच लिया है कि ऐसा ही है, राइट? जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल, वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल, किसी भी टीम में मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स इट यूज्ड टू हैपन, थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग नाउ, बट आई एम साइटिंग दिस एग्जांपल। अगर कोई पार्टी ऑर्गेनाइज करनी है या फिर नोट टेकिंग करनी है, तो हम सब ने अपने करियर में देखा है कि किसी भी वुमेन को बोला जाएगा दैट यू आर गुड एट, नेचुरली गुड एट इट,
That's
यू
really
डू
good
इट।
at.
या
And that
एंड
women also feeling appreciated and
हाँ,
accepting, saying that हाँ ये तो मेरा skill
हाँ,
है, ये तो मैं ही कर सकती हूँ.
और बाद
Correct.
में वो बहुत सारा टाइम उसमें निकल जाता है, वैल्यू कुछ भी क्रिएट नहीं होती है। सो ये जो हमारा
Hmm.
माइंडसेट है, जैसे आपने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस किया है इसको कि उन्हें भी लगता है कि अरे हाँ ये तो मेरा काम है, पर जो हमें
हाँ,
आता है वो तो हमें आता है, जो
आता
नहीं
है.
आता है उस डोमेन में हमें एंटर करना है। सो ये जो हमारी
Hmm.
थॉट प्रोसेस है कि शायद नहीं होगा, या जो हम करते आए हैं वही करते रहे अदरवाइज, so I would say going beyond comfort zone is one thing that women will have to do. Because if I have to say where does change start, I would say change starts from self. कोई
Hmm.
प्लेट में लाके देगा नहीं, वी हैव टू क्रिएट इट फॉर आवरसेल्व्स। सो
Hmm.
ये जो थॉट प्रोसेस है कि जो आता है वही करते रहेंगे, आगे ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ना है, या फिर बढ़ नहीं पा रहे हैं और फिर देन सोचना कि लोग हमें सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, आई वुड नॉट अग्री विद दैट। सो आई वुड से इफ women have to break those barriers, the first thing would be they need to be assertive. Just now I said
Hmm.
from emotional intelligence pieces, the assertiveness piece does not come easily to women, so we have to learn that, and trust me, I have also learned it. It's not easy। बहुत बार ऐसे लगेगा, मतलब ऐसे होता था मेरे साथ कि मैं कुछ बोलना चाहती थी, मन में ही बोलती रहती थी, और फिर 10
Hmm.
बार मैं मन में बोलती रहूंगी, मीटिंग खत्म हो जाएगी, एंड देन आई वुड से अरे यार ये बोला नहीं मैंने, पर करेज ही नहीं था। सो ये जो
Hmm.
assertiveness है, वी हैव टू ब्रिंग इट फॉरवर्ड, वी हैव टू आस्क फॉर इट, दैट इज सेकंड थिंग, एंड वी हैव टू बी रेडी फॉर
Hmm.
गेटिंग थिंग्स। जैसे होता है ना, फियर ऑफ सक्सेस कहते हैं जिसको, आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं
Hmm.
मैंने people में देखा है वो भी होता है, और उसकी वजह से ये हमेशा फीलिंग आती रहती है कि ये होगा नहीं। सो दिस इज वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट। Second is family. We have spoken about it. You need to ask for it so that you can download your responsibilities, or you can delegate it, or you can delete it, whatever you do, but you need to have some time. Otherwise, आप यही करते रह जाओगे। And third
Hmm.
thing is men at workplace, अगर barriers तोड़ने हैं, so आज भी अगर आप देखोगे women in leadership, it's minuscule, right? Even today makers are men. So if men are decision makers, it's their responsibility as well to be sponsors, to be advocates, be
Hmm.
mentors, and support
Hmm.
women. And why women?
Hmm.
Support every gender or every minority that we are talking
Hmm.
about. So three
Hmm.
aspects to this. One starts from self, I would say 70% काम तो हमें ही करना है। Between the
Hmm.
two, one taking care of family responsibilities, because I also do not see a situation where family breakdown ho jaye because there is no one to take responsibility, so divide
बिल्कुल.
it equally। And I'm glad that so many women and men, so many spouses are doing it that way today, equally divide bhi ho rahi hai responsibilities, so even that is
Hmm.
good। Yeah, so between
Hmm.
us it's 70%, and then I would say 30% has to come from men as well। बहुत अवेयरनेस हो गई है, एटलीस्ट इन लार्जर प्लेसेस, बिग सिटीज, गुड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, ये हो ही गया है। फॉर स्मॉलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और प्लेसेस वेयर इट इज नॉट हैपनिंग, यू हैव टू आस्क फॉर इट। सो 70-30
Hmm.
इज व्हाट आई वुड से।
Right. Again, what's important in what you said is definitely all the 3 points. There is a lot of awareness, but what is critical is to understand that don't accept the things as they are, कि ऐसा ही चलता आ रहा है यार, ऐसा ही होगा, तो ऐसे ही चलने दो। लाइक हाउ यू सेड दैट अंदर ही अंदर आपको लगा था यू कैन ऐड वैल्यू टू दिस मीटिंग, यू कैन से समथिंग, मे बी से समथिंग व्हिच विल हेल्प द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मूव बेटर, मेक अ बेटर डिसीजन। और मे बी एक गलती हो रही है और उस गलती को आपने सोचा कि बोलूँ नहीं
हाँ,
बोलूँ, करूँ नहीं करूँ, और फिर गलती हो गई। फिर आपको लगा कि मुझे तो पहले ही पता था, लेकिन आई डिडंट स्पीक अप। तो आई थिंक
हाँ,
कहीं ना वो अंदर ही अंदर आपको खा जाती है। इट्स अ वेरी पैसिव एग्रेसिव काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग वेयर यू आर बीटिंग योरसेल्फ अप, और आपका हेल्थ भी खराब हो रहा है, चाहे वो फिजिकली हो, चाहे वो मेंटली हो, और आपका करियर
correct.
भी नहीं बन रहा है, और आपकी पर्सनैलिटी भी नहीं बन रही है। This reminds me of what Joe Dispenza says, that your personal reality is the reflection of your personality. तो अगर आपको
Hmm.
अपनी पर्सनालिटी में कुछ चेंज लाना है, तो आपको अपनी पर्सनालिटी में चेंज लाना होगा। तो जैसे आपने
Yeah.
70% कहा ना, वो इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है लोगों के लिए समझना। लेकिन गौरी, एक चीज है जो मैंने नोटिस की है, विच आई वांट टू ब्रिंग आउट ऑन दिस प्लेटफॉर्म, इज कि बहुत बार ऐसा होता है, आई हैव सीन वुमेन who take this in the wrong way, which means the way they look at empowerment is कि
Hmm.
सब छोड़, मतलब घर परिवार को भूल
Yeah,
जाओ,
yeah.
घर वाले को सब कुछ देखो, मैं तो चली। दैट इज नॉट व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, राइट? इट्स
That's what
नॉट
I
अबाउट
said.
ओके।
Breakdown. I am not advocating. Yeah.
या लेकिन बहुत सारे लोग ना उस चीज को समझते नहीं है, जब तक उसको प्रॉपरली बताया ना जाए कि ये मैसेज नहीं दे रहे हैं हम मैसेज दे रहे हैं कि टॉक टू योर फैमिली, मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड ऑफ हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इट इज फॉर यू टू go for what you want to go for, and how everybody should build a support system, and how you can also participate in activities that they have been doing till today, and you also
Correct.
become their support system. उनको नहीं लगना चाहिए चलो मैं तो जो कर रहा था कर ही रहा था, अब तुम भी चार चीजें दे दो। इट शुड
हाँ,
बी लाइक कि भाई मिली जुली सरकार है, आप चार चीजें मेरी लीजिए, मैं आपकी चार लूंगी, आई विल ऑल्सो
correct.
कंट्रीब्यूट, मेक
Very,
लाइफ
very
इजियर
true.
फॉर एवरीबody।
Yeah, yeah. So just I'll add because very very important point. ये पेटीएम का ad है एक जिसमें they ask, I don't know if you have seen it or if our audience have seen it. So they ask how many of you can make Maggie, and you have to come forward. So everyone comes forward, men, women together, and then they ask how many have ever bought a insurance policy. Only
हाँ,
few women come forward. Then there is another question: how many of you own a car, or how many of you have ever paid a electricity bill, or ever booked a cylinder, or small things that generally men do, or bought shares और bought a house. So ये जो responsibilities है, ये भी कहना ठीक नहीं है कि men कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे हैं, ये इतनी सारी चीजें they are managing already. So you beautifully portrayed it, yeah, that it has to be a mix and match. कुछ आप कर लो, कुछ घर की responsibility men can manage, and women, because women will learn also, right?
या
So अगर वो नहीं करेंगे तो learn भी नहीं करेंगे. So
बिल्कुल
100% with you on that. It's not that सबको, because हम society को भी break down नहीं कर सकते. इन घर सबकी responsibility है, बच्चे सबकी responsibility. It's not that only
बिल्कुल
men or women have to take care of it. Yes.
बिल्कुल। और जैसे आपने इतनी खूबसूरती से कहा कि हाउ योर पेरेंट्स हैव बीन योर रोल मॉडल्स, हाउ दे एनकरेज्ड यू, हाउ दे सपोर्टेड यू, how you looked at how things are happening at home, how you gave an example of your husband to look at how things happened at his home, without any conscious conversation, without any conscious training or learning session given, how subconsciously we are observing things happening around and building our patterns, कि लड़के ये करते हैं, लड़कियां ये करते हैं,
हाँ,
शादी के बाद ऐसा होता है, स्कूल में ऐसा होता है, कॉलेज में ऐसा होता है, हमारे पैटर्न्स बनते हैं। तो आई थिंक इट्स आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इवन टू द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन, नॉट जस्ट वेरी सेल्फिशली फॉर अस, कि अगर हम इस टाइप का एटमॉस्फेयर अपने घर में क्रिएट करेंगे, तो हमारे जो बच्चे हैं, फॉर देम दैट विल बिकम द डिफॉल्ट वे ऑफ फंक्शनिंग। उनको
true.
भी दिखेगा कि अच्छा ऐसा होता है, आपस में बैठ के बात की जा सकती है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शेयर की जा सकती है, पापा भी किचन में जा सकते हैं, मम्मा भी जाके बिल्स पे कर सकती हैं। सो दैट क्रॉसओवर इज व्हाट दे शुड सी एज नॉर्मल, इट शुडंट सीम लाइक यार ऐसा तो होता ही नहीं है। तो दैट इज हु दे विल बिकम बाय डिफॉल्ट, सो दैट इज व्हाट दे विल इवन ट्रांसलेट इन देयर लाइफ, एंड ऑल्सो व्हेन दे बिकम लीडर्स एंड प्रोफेशनल्स, वो अपनी टीम को भी वैसे ही देखेंगे, अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को भी वैसे ही देखेंगे, क्योंकि
Correct.
उनका डिफॉल्ट माइंडसेट ही वही होगा ना, तो हमको चेंज करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। वो डिफॉल्ट ही उन्होंने देखा होगा कि यही तो है, द न्यू वे ऑफ फंक्शनिंग इज दिस, द न्यू रियलिटी इज दिस। तो आई थिंक वो भी हमारी एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि हम उनको
Very
क्या
true.
दिखा रहे हैं।
Yeah, yeah, and I think you clarified it very well, and examples also are very apt and should be very very clear that crossover is the right word. Yeah, that's the key word here. Yes.
Good, Gauri. I'm just thinking what else can I ask, but there is so much that you have gotten from this conversation. that it's not just about awareness. It's not about ki jhanda leke bas bahar nikalna hai, women empowerment. That's not the point. It's not about breaking your family. It's not
Yeah.
about losing what you have for what you want. It's important to understand कि collaborate कैसे करें. It's not about competing. It's not always about कि fight करनी है. We have to fight for our rights. हर एक
Hmm.
चीज एक fight नहीं है. बात करो जाके, समझो, दूसरे लोगों को समझाओ. That is a better way of handling things. And I think that's what came out of your conversation कि आप घर वालों से के ऊपर, how as parents we need to be supportive to our children for their dreams irrespective of what your reality is.
Yeah.
How you can push them to do something that you haven't done but you want them to go beyond what you have gone. How as parents you need to have conversation among each other to set right example for your children. How as women we need to build a support system around us and ask for help from women and men around irrespective of what gender they are from. And that is equality. Ask for support, have conversations, because we're not denying the fact that support is required, क्योंकि इतने सालों से things have been different. तो हम
Hmm.
ये नहीं बोल सकते कि men and women are equal, तो support क्यों चाहिए, support मत मांगो. नहीं, अगर
Right.
ऐसे जैसे आपने वो एग्जांपल दिया ना कि कोई 6 फीट पे खड़ा है, कोई
Hmm.
3 पे है, कोई 4 पे है, तो ऑब्वियसली सपोर्ट चाहिए, बट दैट डज नॉट मीन दे आर नॉट इक्वल और दे आर लेस कॉम्पिटेंट. The
Hmm.
past hasn't supported them very well, but now let us support them to come to a level playing ground, जहाँ पे हम लोग लेवल फील्ड पे आके प्ले करें और देखें कौन कितना कॉम्पिटेंट है.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important, Gauri. So thank you for bringing these points up, and thank you for sharing your personal story with us, of telling us that if you could make it happen, anyone can make it happen because you saw your own challenges. You had difficulties in terms of language, competence, confidence, education, parental background, the place that you lived in. मतलब कोई भी चैलेंज बोलो तो वो वहां पे है ना. एजुकेशन का भी है, जगह का भी है, लैंग्वेज का भी है. एक इंडिविजुअल लड़की को उस जमाने में, वी टॉकिंग अबाउट 15-20 years back, coming to a city, having to go through that fight on our own, but it again falls in that 70% कि समझो 70% आपकी ही fight है. You are 70% of the game, rest is 30% of the game, and that is very evident in what you shared. और आपने एक और चीज कही थी स्टार्टिंग में जब मैंने चैलेंजेस की बात कही थी, दैट प्रशांत, हम चैलेंजेस की बात कर रहे हैं तो इसलिए शायद लोगों को पता चल रहा है हमारे चैलेंजेस के बारे में, बट सबके अपने अपने चैलेंजेस हैं. Everybody goes through it, so it's my request to people in the audience that if you have gone through challenges, things that you've overcome in your life, don't just keep it to themselves, because it's very unfair to people out there who you can inspire. Tell them कि you're not alone. This is also something that you said, Gauri. इस realization time के बाद ये होती है कि ऐसा नहीं है
Hmm.
कि मैंने कुछ कमाल कर दिया, मैंने कोई झंडा गाड़ दिया. There are so many people who are
Yeah,
going through the
everybody.
challenge that I'm going through, और कहीं ना कहीं उससे एक एम्पावरमेंट भी आती है कि मैं इस जर्नी में अकेला या अकेली नहीं हूँ. ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरी जिंदगी लाचार है, बहुत सारे लोग इस चीज से गुजर रहे हैं और ओवरकम करके सक्सेसफुल बन रहे हैं. And that's an example that you are setting, Gauri, and that's I would request audience to also set such examples. Share your stories, talk about what you've gone through, talk about how you have overcome things. You don't know who you are helping. अपने पास रख के आपको क्या मिलेगा अगर आप लोगों को बोलोगे. There is so much you can do and empower people with. So, on
Absolutely.
that note, Gauri, any last words before we end today's conversation?
Yeah, so the only thing, if you have to just take away one thing from the conversation from my end, Prashant, you have given a lot of nuggets. I would say evaluate your belief every at regular interval, because every belief that you are carrying is not going to help you, and it's not even applicable at that point of time. Evaluate your beliefs, evaluate your values also, because values also keep changing as your life is changing. And if you stick to the old pattern, you are not going to move ahead. They will become barriers for you. So I would say be limitless, be a possibility.
Great. Thank you, Gauri, for summing it up so well. I think that is the crux of our conversation. And thank you, everyone who has joined us today live. And again, as I always say, thank you to everyone who would be watching the recording of the entire show or the snippets that will come forward. Thank you for your support. Thank you for encouraging me and this platform to bring in people, to bring in perspectives that will add value to leadership and the life overall, because I believe leadership is a life skill. It's not just about being a professional, it's a mix of both. If you can't change yourself, like Gauri said, 70% it's you, और वो आपकी लीडरशिप में दिखेगा. अगर यू पे ही काम नहीं होगा तो वो आप सिर्फ प्रोफेशनली जाके एक अलग इंसान नहीं बन सकते हैं, क्योंकि वो एक स्ट्रगल होगी. So thank you for joining us, thank you for supporting us, and I'll see you again next week with another interesting guest, with another interesting topic. We'll talk about some insights and try to bring value to you. And thank you, Gauri, for being here. Thank you for being as open as always, as easy to talk to as always, and sharing your experiences and knowledge with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining and being with us.
Yes, thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend. अगली सैटरडे को मिलते हैं फिर 11 बजे. Goodbye.